Hey, it's Rachel Cooke, your modern mentor. I'm the founder of Lead Above Noise, a firm specializing in helping teams and organizations optimize their working experience, often through developing new leaders to ensure they master the basics. And if I've learned anything over the years about leaders, it is this. Most of them want to do a great job at supporting their teams. And when they show up as less than ideal, it's almost always because they just don't know what awesome looks like. Because, listener, while they need to be the expert on a lot of things, only we are the experts in what leading us well looks like and feels like. They need our help in managing them to better manage us. You know, a good friend of mine is a doctor at a renowned children's hospital. She's one of the best in her field, and she has worked really hard to get where she is. Also, she's a single mom, and she is super proud of that. Recently, when a big opportunity popped up in her world, she decided she was going to go for it. But before she could get her hat in the ring, her boss told her the job had gone to someone else. He said, "I know how much you're balancing between the job and your kids, and I just didn't want to put that pressure on you." My friend was devastated. Her boss meant well, he really did, but his good intentions left her feeling really down. He made assumptions when he should have been asking questions. And I see this kind of thing all the time. Our bosses mean well, but they often aren't asking the questions that they should. And so we can accept that along with the consequences, or we can step into the driver's seat and help them to manage us as we'd like to be managed. Will they follow our counsel every time? No, they will not. But if we give them good intel at the start, our chances of being led well are just better. So here are some of the things you can do to manage your manager into excellent management of you. Okay, first, state your working prefs. A different friend called me a few weeks ago from the car. She's like, "I'm taking my mom's iPad in to be fixed because that's what she wants for her birthday." How weird is that? Whatever happened to like a nice sweater? And I was like, friend, that is not weird at all. It sounds like the perfect gift to me, but acts of service are my love language. Probably hers too. Yep, love languages are a thing. You can Google it, but the point is this. We are all lit up by different things, none weirder or better or worse than the other. And this concept applies at work as well. There is no good or right way to lead someone. The best way is leading them in accordance with how they prefer to be led. So what can you share about yourself with your boss to offer some direction? How do you most enjoy working? How do you prefer to communicate? How do you like to receive feedback? Do you enjoy being coached? Do you like receiving more direction up front or less? You may not win all of these. Your boss also has preferences. But starting off by letting them know what makes you happy gives your boss a chance to try to meet you where you are. Next, communicate your professional goals. Most people show up to work for more than just a paycheck. There's all this research from Gallup that tells us the ability to do what I do best is one of the top drivers of employee engagement, even more so than the paycheck. And doing what we do best often, hopefully, leads to growth, development. You strive to shine, to impress, right? But what you'd like to grow into is specific to you. Maybe you're really wanting a leadership role, and what you need is more opportunities to connect with senior leadership, and your boss just isn't making it happen. Does your boss know this is what you want? Have you told them? Because while it is their job to support you, it is not their job to predict or anticipate where you want to go next. There are countless skills you could be striving to develop, so giving your boss a clear sense of direction and a compass will really help them to help you. So be bold, but not entitled, in offering insight into your career aspirations, and then invite your boss to help connect you with opportunities and activities designed to move you there. Next, give feedback, good and bad, along the way. Giving your boss feedback, I know it feels cringy, but stay with me. Because if you do it skillfully and thoughtfully, your feedback will be helpful and appreciated. Back in my days of being an employee, I gave a presentation one day to a group of senior executives, and my boss was in the audience. This presentation was a huge deal for me, and I had worked really hard to prepare for it. At one point, we took a short break, and my boss hopped over to me and said, "Hey, I thought these 3 things you did went really, really well. But did you also consider pulling in points A, B, and C? In that moment, I was appalled. I'm in the middle of this huge, nerve-wracking thing, and he's giving me feedback? As my head filled with rage and profanity, both of which I did manage to contain, I set it aside and I kept going. Later that day, after dozens of deep breaths, I decided to give my boss some feedback. And while I was tempted to lead with, "Were you kidding me? Do you have any idea how distracting that was for me?" I opted instead to go this way. "Hey, while the content of your feedback earlier was really helpful, candidly, the timing made it very challenging for me to receive. I was nervous and focused, and it caught me off guard. In the future, unless something is on fire, do you think we can save the feedback for after the close of the event?" He was super apologetic. His intentions were good. He wanted me to end on the best note possible. He just hadn't realized how giving me feedback at that moment might have thrown me off my game. And you know what? It never happened again. As long as you're graceful and constructive, your feedback will be well received. Next, appreciate their efforts, like out loud. Back to the thing about your boss being human. Humans love to feel recognized for a job well done. Keep it authentic and never patronizing, but positive reinforcement goes a long way. Like, let's say your boss knows you're trying to speak up more during team meetings, but other members of your team tend to hog all the airtime and you're struggling to break in. So you let your boss know. And when you show up at the next meeting, your boss poses a question, lets the hoggers have their moment, but then says, "Thank you for those points, but," insert your name, "I wonder if you have anything to add before we move on." This is a small gesture of notice, of kindness, but it shows your boss was listening and they're trying. So later, give them some praise. Let them know that this was seen and really, really appreciated. And finally, earn what you want. So far, the theme of this episode has been use your words, like ask for what you want, give feedback, show appreciation. These are all verbal strategies you've got to start with. But all of them together may still not be enough to train your boss. Sometimes you've got to back up your asks with action. Great, ask for it. But then throw some ideas on the page. Show your boss what you'd like to try, what impact you think your ideas could have, and how you plan to monitor or measure success. Do you want a chance to lead a project? Again, start by asking for it, but then find a project in process and ask its leader if there's anything you can take on to support the work, and show your boss what steps you've been taking. Sometimes we have more luck teaching through actions than through words. So if words are failing you, then give action a try. Join me next week for another great episode. Until then, visit my website at leadabovenoise.com if your organization is looking to dial up its employee experience or deliver some leadership development that activates change. You can follow Modern Mentor on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Find and follow me on LinkedIn. Thanks so much for listening and have a successful week. Modern Mentor is a quick and dirty tips podcast. It's audio engineered by Dan Farabend with script editing by Adam Cecil. Our podcast and advertising operations specialist is Morgan Christensen. Our digital operations specialist is Holly Hutchings. Our marketing and publicity associate is Davina Tomlin, and our intern is Cameron Lacey.